Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome along to the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by RaceVoice as we head to Germany to the notorious, world-renowned green hell that is the Nordschleife, live here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Tim Cox and I'm joined as usual by Jonathan Growski, who's not only running the cameras tonight but also providing his amazing insight and knowledge as well in the commentary booth. Well, last week we visited Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, where we had an absolutely action-packed race yet again, as we've become accustomed to in this series. And it was Brandon Roseborough. He took the race victory, and it was his maiden victory of the season, along with himself and Marco Panero being the only other drivers so far to beat the mighty Aero Nom, who has won 4 out of 6 rounds so far this season. Jonathan, we was just saying before the show, it's going to be a bit of a spicy one, this.
It's going to be a spicy one, and one of the best things about this series is the variety of tracks that this class races on, and kudos to iRacing for doing, as some of you know, SRF, the Weekend Warrior Series, follows the iRacing track schedule. And, we go from, most part, last year we're at Lime Rock, now we're at the Nordschleife, so it's going to be spicy. There's some new names at the top of the leaderboard, and going back to last week, Tim, I remember prior to the race I made a joke saying, Stevie Ray, our series organizer, should put a bounty on someone that beats Aero Nom. Well, the bounty kind of still remains if someone can beat him cleanly. Last week Aero Nom ran to a bit of an issue, got caught up by a lapper accident, but we'll see what he does today.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Now, So it's this series sponsored by RaceVoice. It's a simple way to transform complicated performance data into easy to understand voice notifications and alerts with 16 different notifications, including upshift, downshift, overrun alerts, corner entry speed, turn-in speeds, and corner exit speed, to name but a few. It provides immediate feedback on driver and vehicle performance. Now, qualifying that's just come to an end, so we should be helped to bring up your grid very shortly. Now, it's a bit of worth a note is the driver championships, and well, as you can appreciate, with 4 wins out of 6 so far, Aeronom heads the Spec 1 standings, followed by David Bohm and Marco Pinero, who are quite closely tied there on 112 points behind and 119 points behind Aeronom respectively. And also Naselli not too far behind, only 5 points behind Pinero. And Rosberg making a big leap up after his victory last time out. Then down to the Spec 2 standings. It's Dantas, he's leading that, but then it gets a bit tight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th as well in that standings, with Gibson, Favini and Forster in 2nd, 3rd and 4th respectively. And then across to the Masters, well, it's Chris Murakami who's really come alive in this series as it progresses through the season. But it is so tight at the top. Joint 2nd, only 6 points behind, is Tom Gradwell and Antonio Rice. With Stevie Ray, the series organiser, only a further 5 points behind them in 11th place. It's getting really, really tight within Masters. So we should be able to hopefully bring your grid up very shortly. And
might as well warm up next, I believe. And then after that, we'll go to the grid.
Lovely. So, obviously, as we mentioned, the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, the longest track in the world. And I think with these cars, Jonathan, we were saying that slipstream is so key to them and plays a large part. So we just don't run Morgan in there, who came back to the series for last round, and good to see having the Chinese driver back here again. The back straight, it's absolutely long, and are you coming onto it? Are you going to want to be at the front of the queue on the last lap?
I wonder. I remember last time we were here, it all, as we know with this series, it all kind of comes down to that last straight. And I know we had a battle going down Tiergarten last time around. So I don't know if you want to be the guy leading, starting when you head down to Tiergarten. Probably want to be the second, or heck, even the way this, we know, Tim, the way this series goes, you might want to be the 4th or 5th guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be, everyone forming a queue and taking their ticket of who's going to take the lead. As you see, Masters leader there, Chris Murakami. Interested to see how he gets on tonight. And yeah, it's like you said, I think it's just going to be an absolutely massive slipstream fest on that run down to, Tiergarten, and for the last couple of corners, the chicanes, before they head across the start-finish line. Of course, the drivers will be having to take a pit stop. It'll be mandatory. They won't complete the race without it. It's a 40-minute race as always. Now, by my calculations, they'll be doing roughly about 6 laps. Now, you normally see a bit of variety in terms of pit strategy in this series, Jonathan. However, due to the lap length here, I feel that that's maybe not going to be so much of a factor tonight, with a lot of the drivers maybe stopping at the end of, coming onto their 3rd lap.
Yeah, we were trying to do the maths earlier prior to the race, and the top guys are running in the low 740, 742, 743. And what happens when we have a bunch of cars? We have the draft as well. We're not going to see as much, potentially not as much pitch strategy as we normally do. Usually we get 20-something lap races here on SRF, and I think, what'd you say, Tim? We're expected maybe 7. Is that the number you came up with?
It was officially based on the fastest qualifying time. It comes up at 5.1 laps. Now, obviously, you can't do 0.1 of a lap, so it will be 6 laps here tonight.
But let's just say you're fast, but you're in a whole gaggle of cars that do you try to jump everyone by doing an early pit stop? So there might be a little bit of strategy here. You know, maybe not as much as we normally see, you know, in a normal SRF race, but you know, definitely there could be some changes. But I want to get back to the points battle. As we saw, Chris Murakami is on fire, and that Masters class is hands down possibly the best class to watch right now. With, you know, as you mentioned, Tom Gradwell and Tony Race only 6 points behind him, and Stevie Ray only 11 points behind Chris Murakami. So in Gradwell, who's been spectacular, and Tony Race, who we've seen, you know, almost run up at the front, not just in class but overall. So that's gonna be a fun battle to watch. And last week was a real heartbreaker, as we had Adam Bradshaw was gonna win Spec 2, had an issue with Bobby West going into the final lap, which gifted Evando Dantas, you know, that Spec 2 class win last week and put him on the top of the points.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's plenty of battles emerging. It's, I mean, halfway through the season, you know, plenty of races to go. Yeah, even Spec 1 with the mighty lead that Aeronom has, 112 points over David Bohm. It's all it takes is a couple of bad results, and that gap will close it dramatically. But especially, like you say, within Masters, it is so tight, with 11 points covering our top 4 right now. So a bit of a gap down to Jeff Cantor, who is, what, some 58 points behind 4th place Stevie Ray. So there's a bit of a gap emerging there, but even so,
and don't forget the drop.
Too quickly.
And don't forget the drop scores. So this series takes best of 9. So someone could have a bad race or two and catch fire. You know, so it's quite possible someone who, let's just say Bob Kern or Jeff Cantor, could catch fire second half of the season and end up taking the battle.
They could do. It's going to be interesting to see as we, as I say, halfway through the season, and as things start to evolve, change, and morph as the season goes on, just to how those battles are going to emerge, and could we potentially see someone else take it to the respective championship leaders within the 3 different divisions here. So officially starting the second half of the season here from Nordschleife. We've got Summit Point, Zandvoort, Interlagos, Daytona, and Donington to go. Special round 13 as well.
What a collection! What a collection of tracks.
As such a variety there. You've got the more technical Zandvoort. Summit Point is, this open, but equally, there's technical parts in it, especially in the second half of the track. Interlagos, big, wide, open, Grade 1 FIA track. Daytona, equally the same as well, which you'll see. Well, that's one I'm really, really looking forward to seeing, because there's so much slipstream potential with the, obviously, when they come out onto the oval. So that's going to be a real spectacle to see in about 5 weeks' time. And then you've got the really tight but fast Donington, which is on the national circuit. So as they come to close to the end of the lap, they've got the chicane rather than heading out left out onto the Grand Prix circuit. A real variety there left in the championship.
I'm excited to see them at Daytona. We haven't. I don't think we've been to Daytona in the past few seasons, so that's gonna be really fun to watch. See these cars around the banking. That's gonna be one. I can only imagine what the last lap's gonna be like. We could see our traditional SRF, 6-7 cars coming out of the Daytona chicane.
Yeah, I'm excited already. I've got the goosebumps and the hairs going up on my arms already. And we're weeks away. We're nearly around about a month away from Daytona. So that's definitely going to be one to watch out for. And sure, Interlagos as well. That's going to be quite similar. Coming out the last corner, it's then pretty much a long open run down to the start-finish line. So that's going to be full of battles as well. Now, well, worth mentioning, the current... the highest number of championship wins goes to Gaspers at the moment. He's on 5. Aeronom, if he continues the form that he is in, he currently sits on 3 championship wins, which would then put him on 4 if the stars align, and obviously he takes the championship. I know, only being halfway through the season, I know you're saying, Jonathan, obviously with only the best 9 results counting towards the championship standings. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see. And then all it would take in one more season to equal Gasper's record.
Oh, for sure. And David Gasper is fantastic driver. We saw him numerous series look unbelievably amazing. He's a great driver. There's a few guys that have really shined. I've been doing the series now for a few seasons, and Aeronom, David Gaspers, those guys come out. Austin Winter, who was absolutely fantastic in his championship year. And these drivers are just so complete. They're not just fast, they qualify well, they have great racecraft. Their pit strategy is, really, really interesting. I remember, when we've talked with Aeronom in the past, he's talked about how he's very methodical. He comes in with a plan, whereas someone like Austin Winter would always kind of see how kind of the race went out and, just, see how things were going and then make the call based off of, where the track was, what his rivals were doing around him as well. But it looks like we're getting ready to, cars are coming up for the warm-up. Bit of a longer lap here at the Nordschleife.
It is indeed, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this all goes. Now, the driver's completing roughly at about the fastest times are 7:45 here. And with a top speed of 150 miles an hour in the Ford Spec Racer, we are bound to see them hit that and be bouncing off the rev limiter as they come down Dottinger and up to Tiergarten. See, these cars have only a little 1.6 litre engine, that's react rated, 135 horsepower. But they weigh hardly anything at all, and sitting in the middle of the car, drivers have a nice view of each corner, which allows a bit more of the ease of the turning, especially where you've got so many tricky corners here, Jonathan, in the Nordschleife.
Yeah, and we talked last week with Brandon Rosenborough about the gentleman's agreement. It may not be a spoken agreement, but it's an agreement amongst the top guys. How do they manage this race? How do they manage the Nordschleife with so many turns, such a long track? Is everyone kind of just say, all right, let's pace ourselves till we get to, the first guy to go to pit road and then we get going, or does that kind of go out the window? It's going to be interesting. And, Brandon Rosenborough last week was fantastic. That win was a long time coming. He's been fast every time he's been on track this year. And I think you and I both thought that it was probably going to be him or Marco Pinero that would be the first guy to really beat Aeronom.
I'd be definitely interested to see what happens tonight and not make it 5 victories for the season. Could it be someone else taking the fight to him? And with so many variables, so many tricky corners, faster parts of the circuit, of course. Nordschleife is notoriously narrow, with the barriers just literally meters away. Less than that sometimes, at times, throughout certain parts of the circuit. So one mistake could really, really cost the drivers dearly here.
And we've seen some issues over the past few weeks. One of the things when I talked to you originally about the series when you first started, Tim, was, how clean, respectful everyone was as we watch Bruno Carmo get into it, how respectful everyone was, how great it was. And we've seen a little, argy-bargy over the past few weeks. So with not much runoff, we could have some issues, especially with such a big field.
As always, we have such a large field here. Every single week, every single season throughout this championship. Just see Aeronom championship leader in Spec 1 there, and it's we've seen it obviously throughout the series where if someone near the front has had an incident, of course wider tracks has allowed that they've been able to resume, but obviously much further down the field, and early on they lose absolutely tons of places, you can imagine, when the field is so tightly compacted. Now, factoring in obviously that narrow nature of the circuit as well, it could be a one-way ticket to the barrier, and it could almost be race ending, which could allow potentially someone who we've not really expected or, you know, haven't seen too much of so far this season, come home with a victory. And that could be absolutely fascinating to see how it just all plays out. I just can't wait until we can, you know, get on with the racing here, because this is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, warm-up's just wrapping up right now, and we will soon be getting the grid. So, Tim, the grid's coming up. Why don't you take it away?
Lovely. So, Valentijus, he is on pole with Bruno de Carmo. Alongside him for company, then it is championship leader Aeronom with Marco Pinero, the Selly and David Bohm on the third row of the grid. So all the usual protagonists at the front end. Then it's Bertoni with Lynn, and then Aidan Campbell and John Payne make an All-American row 5. Then it's Dudo Castro and Simon Mayer on the 6th row of the grid. Dobek has Antonio Reese, Masters leader for company. Then it's Bobby Weston, Navarro Dantas, Yuri Cox and Chauvin. Tusting and Vogel round out your top 20. Then it is Chris Murakami, the Masters leader, with Brian Shorts. Then we've got Sancinelli and Ken Batley in 23rd and 24th, and Gibson and Jacobson on the same row, an all British row there. There's Flavia Andala and Bob Kern. Jones and Jesse round out your top 30. Then it's Tom Gradwell, starting quite far down the grid tonight. Be interested to see how he can cut through with Jeff Cantor, fellow Masters driver. Then we've got Jen and Jackson, Justice and Scholblom rounding out there. And we've got Dorelli, Van der Lorman, Finkboner and Shook rounding out your top 40. Then Reishik, Burkitt, Pointager, Sperek, Brandon Roseborough starting right from the back of the grid there. That's going to be interesting to see how he comes through the field with Bernardo. Round out your grid, a 46-car grid.
This is going to be fantastic.
It is. It is definitely indeed. 46 cars, around 22.8 kilometers.
I wonder what happened to Brandon Roseborough.
I was happy that he just didn't set a time at all. I was sort of kept a little eye on him to see, you know, where.
I also don't see him looking at our SDK live timing here. I don't see him lit up. So maybe he's something came up and he's not here.
Oh, that'd be an absolute shame. Or maybe even just starting from the pits. But here we go. Let's get ready for round 7 at the Nordschleife, and we are racing. And, well, Valentijus is already off at a canter there, heading off into the distance. Got going, and Carmo just following through, and those two already giving some gap over Aeronom. You can see him just race past the camera there in 3rd place. Panero is 4th, Deselli is 5th. It looks like everyone has got away relatively cleanly here so far on the...
I think the only person that may have had an issue was Paul Jackson, but everyone has made it through really cleanly. Great job, everyone. So we look at Marco Pinero currently running in 4th spot. His teammate Naselli behind him, David Baum in 6th, Andreas Bertoni in 7th. And getting back up to the lead battle, Bruno de Carmo is now taking the lead over Valentijus. Jumping back into our Spec 2 class, Avando Dantas is currently in the lead with Simon Mayer right in front. He's a Spec 1 driver. Antonio Race, our Masters class leader, is currently running in 15th. Tim just had a connection issue, so hopefully he'll be back soon. Looking down the field. Oh no, Antonio Race looks like he had an issue. Let's see, did he come off track? We will look and get to that as soon as we can. Let's see what happened to Antonio here. Looks like he had an issue. Take a look on the replay. Oh, went off track. Oh dear. Comes back on, and here comes Mayer and Dantas, and they just have watching to see what happened here. Interesting, but we'll see if we can find out what happened later on. Going back up to our lead battle with Bruno DeCarmo currently in the lead. Valentijas in second. Aeronom, our Spec 1 points leader, is currently in first. Going back to our battles here. Here we got our battle for 25th with Jeff Jacobson, Nicholas Jones, Flavian Dallo. Battles all around the track so far here on lap 1 of the Weekend Warriors at the Nordschleife. As we ride on board with Jeff Jacobson. Vandella behind him and Jones in front. And our battle at the lead has tightened up, and we have a 5-car battle currently going on. DeCarmo, Valentijas, Aeronom, Marco Pinero, and David Fong. And Andres Bertoni not way too far behind. This is going to be a lot of fun as we ride on with Aeronom. Carmen Valentijas, 2 new guys this series, so nice to see some new folks coming out. We take a look out the bumper of Aeronom. Nice little battle going on behind them with Andreas Bertoni, Yangshi Lin, Aiden Campbell. Great to see Yangshi back in the series. Always puts on a great show. Jump back down into battle in the 30s right now. We see Marcus Burkett, Martin Spock, and Michael Finbacher. Finbacher we saw last week as well. Teammate of David Baum, a Spec 1 driver. Here's our battle around 20th right now with Yuri Cox, Bobby West, always a front runner, Brian Short, and Edgar Santinelli. Battles up and down the timing tower here on Weekend Warriors. Oh, we got an issue here. Looks like John Payne, Michael Dobak in trouble. Dobak trying to clean it up. Let's see what happened here. Take a look at the replay. Looks like John Payne and Vaselli connected, which then caused Dobak to spin out. So, ooh, tough one for the German right there.
Apologies about that. Looks like technical issues.
Welcome back, Tim. You missed the fun.
No, I was trying to stay up to date with it in the stream, and I see just about caught Calara getting past Valentijas there. It's like technical gremlins there. That was good fun, but just joined ready for the action. So we head down the back straight. Everyone locked up behind one another. Let's get ready. You can see there is your top 8 all locked together. Hardly anything separating them. What can Nom do? Here he comes. He's out of the slipstream. Going to be on the outside And Valentina's just getting swallowed up there. And Kamaru mostly. They go side by side. But now Nom, as much as he's got out in front, he's now under attack. Hold tight, everyone. Here we go. And Nom, from what looked like a certain taking the lead, he's having Kamaru, who's fighting back and is coming back against him. We're going to go side by side into the last couple of corners, and everyone just holds it together and zips in and somehow gets through it, despite being right on top of one another right now.
Tim, wow. This pack is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Probably a minute or so ago, it was maybe 4 or 5 guys. Now, Yang Shilin, Andreas Bertoni, David Baum have joined this group. So it's getting spicy, I think was the word you used prior to the race. And I think it's the perfect phrase.
It is definitely getting spicy. And for the drivers as well, it's going to be interesting to see how they work together, because if someone falls off the back of this train, or any of the trains, to be fair, that we've got going on in the field right now, that they could end up losing a whole heap of time and really falling off the back of a pack because they've got nobody to slipstream with.
And we've talked about that kind of agreement amongst the top guys. You know, Do Carmo and Valentijas aren't guys we've seen in this series, so did they get the memo? Are they aware? What's going to be their thought? How hard are they going to race, prior to the pit stops?
Yeah, like I say, with newcomers to the championship, it's going to be really interesting to see how they play this one out. Just head back to Chauvin and Vogel there. They're right on top of one another. Only about 3/10 of a second separating those guys. But look who's right behind him. It's Masters leader Chris Murakami, and he's looking to come along for the ride and join in this fight. That's battling out over 14th place right now, under a second, covering these three. If they want to get up to the back of Mayer, who's ahead of them, they're going to have to work together and pull each other along.
This could be a huge point stay for Chris Murakami. Tom Gradwell is currently running 4th spot in the class. He's currently in 31st. I didn't see Stevie Ray out there, so this could be a really huge day points-wise for Chris Murakami, who's also on fire.
He is. He's, as we said, before the race, Chris Murakami has come alive in this championship as it's gone on, and he's really putting in some absolutely mesmerising performances, and it's great to see and watch him evolve.
And Antonio Race had an issue as well earlier. We were trying to find it on the replay. And he's currently buried down in 43rd spot. So, Antonio Race is a guy that we've talked about as a guy who can race all the way up at the front with, our leaders. So, Chris Murakami, everything's going really well for him the past few weeks.
Just see Gradwell there, just locked in this pack. He's going to have some work to do in his work car if he wants to get up. Let's check in. Eduardo Dantas. He has got Castro ahead of him, Meyer behind him, but also what's worth pointing out as well is that pack that is behind him, just watching of Shogun Murakami, and they are starting to close up. Vogel as well, sorry, just leading that little group of 3. There you go, you just see him coming into shot in the background. Sort of get the feeling, Jonathan, it won't be too long. Looks like they're slightly catching them, and it shouldn't be too long before they're joining in with this fight as well.
No, it's going to happen. They're gonna catch up. Everyone's kind of spread out a teeny tiny bit right now, but if a pack will come and catch you if you're flying solo. But speaking of packs, Tim.
Well, they're still all there together. As we were saying earlier, Jonathan, about how they seem to have that agreement whereby they all seem to work together. However, Nom is currently being heavily harassed by Valentijas, who is locked in to the Estonia's bumper. But here comes Nom himself. He's going for the slipstream up the hill, and he's going to get past Carmo. As himself and Valentijas just going side by side, and they all seem to interlock with one another into the side left-handed, just having to lift a little bit. And that's back onto the power. Nom is probably going to remain at the front of this train until they get out onto Dossinger. And that long straight. That's obviously where the tourist track starts and finishes, halfway along that straight.
This
nobody
pack
jumping in.
behind them is kind of, they were right up on them, and they've kind of dropped back just a hair, but enough where, you know, when we get to tier ground, someone's going to pick up the draft, and we're going to have another 7-car battle again.
So Lynn is at the front of that little 3-car pack that's just drops ever so slightly off the back of the top 4. However, with that slipstream potential, I'd imagine it's not going to be too long before they catch up, and there's still plenty of time here. Of course, the beauty or the beast, it depends which way you look at it, of this track is being 22 kilometers. You know, you've still got plenty of time over 1 lap to race and to catch up with someone else. I mean, this is effectively 1 lap around here is. You think back to round 1 in Tsukuba, it's effectively like 7 laps around there.
I always go back to my home track of Lime Rock Park where we raced last season, and I'd love to, I'm not a math person, but how many laps of Lime Rock is 1 lap here at the Nordschleife? So many.
It's crazy. Chalk and cheese, those two definitely. Just checking out this battle right now. You see Yuri Cox there just hunting down Short. You've got Daybek, Sancheletti and Bobby West right behind them. However, they've got a bit of a gap behind Bobby West and Jeff Jacobson all the way down 7 seconds behind them, but Short just dropping out a little bit from here and getting very, very close as ever. So he's really seen the bump in the track there as they drop down there. Be a little bit careful coming into there because the car can get really unsettled, can't it, Jonathan, where the track just drops away from you heavily.
Yeah, there's a lot of dips and dives and turns, and you know, which way does the track go? A lot of off-camber stuff. You get a little bit of everything. There's a reason why every manufacturer tests their road cars and their high-performance cars here at the Nordschleife. It has everything you'd want.
It has, yeah, absolutely everything. And you see just out in front of this little pack, that's the Brit John Tustings, who's kind of in a little bit of a no man's land at the moment. He's got, obviously, there's Vogel, Murakami and Castro in that little group ahead of him. But then he's not got anyone behind, well, these guys obviously behind him. Obviously, where they're going to be working together and slipstreaming, I'd imagine Tusting is going to be a little bit vulnerable. Heading along here, as there we go, we see this the overtake starting to happen already. It's always a bit deceptive, this shot. It always looks like the cars are going so slowly at snail's pace, but they're really not. They're topping out 150 miles an hour along the straight here. Terminal velocity for these cars being reached. Right on board with Tusting right now. You see the look back, there they are, they're all leaving. That gap is closing. Tustings, it was around about 1.7 seconds.
And 3 wide.
Well, here we go. What we come to expect, and Bobby Les takes the lead of this little group. I mean, other series, you get extremely excited by 2 wide, or even 3 wide, but we almost come to expect it as the de facto default here in
like, you know,
SRF Weekend Warriors. It's just another day, really, isn't it?
It's, you know, run of the mill. It's we get excited when we go 4 or 5 wide too. That's when we get thrilled.
Definitely. As I think something's happened to Castro. He's in the pits. Looks like he's had a bit of an incident. He's come out again. So it seems, I would say it seems a little bit early, but we're already 16 minutes in, nearly at half race distance. So
he took a while ago. Let's take a look what happened here.
See Castro there.
Dude is in the 73.
Happens to him. It's so easy to lose it around here. So he's maybe caught some of that ICI racing grass.
Nothing.
No, doesn't look no. Too sure there what happened there, but good to know that Castro is all okay.
He might be doing that strategy of, hey, I have guys in front of me who are slower. I don't want to battle them too much. Let me try to jump in the pits early.
But
look who's climbed. But also look who's climbed up into 3rd. Yang Shi Lin.
Yeah, out of nowhere, and Valentijas has been the big loser out of this. He's dropped down to 5th. I mean, we're nearly at half race distance. We say about the early pit stops. Obviously, with such the length of the track here, it's effectively it's not really. And we've got around about, I'd say, about 30% of the field have. No, sorry, not even that really. About a quarter of the field have dropped into the pits so far. A few of those through incidents on the first lap, but I'd imagine it's going to be interesting. Is it going to be the end of this lap, or are the drivers able to take yet another lap? How's that going to evolve for this battle up front? I mean, quite often we've seen in this series where they do seem to come back together, Jonathan, somehow, despite varying pit strategies.
Yeah, we've seen that where we've had pit strategies where it's like, okay, everyone's split up, it's not going to happen, and then 3-4 laps to go, somehow it all magically works out, and you have a great end of the race call too. So
yeah, it is a real treat this series. As well, worth noting, Josie Lin takes fastest lap at 7:42.51 last time around, obviously aided by that slipstream by the back of that little group. But checking in on this, we've got emerging here. We've got Mayer and Dantas. You see Dantas, the second car there. Vogel in the middle, John Payne, and then Chauvin.
This is our Spec 2 battle right here, Dantas and Vegley.
It is indeed, and not really. It's almost like, you know, no driver wants to blink first around here, because I think it's going to be whoever is behind, especially into the second half of the lap, and as they head up the hill as well into the forest, that's the driver I think potentially, and I could be wrong, that ends up obviously, you know, being behind for the long straight, and oh wow, really locking it up on entry there. It's going to be obviously behind and being able to get that slipstream and possibly get ahead of the competitor on the last lap.
Such a way to jump down here. Jump down to one of our other battles here. Michael Dobek trying to climb back up from, he got caught up in an incident with John Painter. He was the victim of an innocent victim of an incident earlier, so nice to see Dobek climbing up.
We said about, obviously, you know, how long would they work together and catch up with Tustings? Well, but this time last lap, that gap was 1 3/4 seconds. It's now down to half a second as this little gaggle of cars are working together, and there we go. You can see the speed difference. They're locked into the back of Tusting. And it's only time before he's being engulfed with this battle. And also worth mentioning, Murakami up ahead. He's just got slightly separated from Chauvin as well. And dropped back off. So I'd imagine it's not going to be long before Murakami ends up getting swallowed up into this battle as well, which is the last thing that he is going to want with, like you're saying earlier, Jonathan, such a big point potential day for the American.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw Stevie Ray was in the chat, so thank you, Stevie, for watching. Great job as always with this series. He's on his off week, as he said.
It is a absolutely spectacular series and so well supported. Every single season, sorry. Let's just take in a little look of how this little group at the front are getting on. Well, they're not currently out in front of Carmo and Lynn. Panero, Valentijas, Dutt and Bone. Rounding out your top 6 here, then just heading sort of further on field. Tony Selly, Campbell, Dantas. Rounding out your top 10 right now, but see the cars just dropping down into the dip there. Themselves round. Not going to see too wide round there unless someone's feeling incredibly brave. Carmo right into the back of Aeronom right now. I feel it's only time before he makes a move, or do you think, Jonathan, maybe just going to be happy to sit behind Aeronom, knowing that the long straight is coming up so soon?
I think sit behind him. Why force the issue so early, especially when you have the long straight? And I've seen DeCarmo in other series, a blindingly fast driver, so very, very skilled, very talented driver, so smart, he'll play it out. You know, why take the chance?
Exactly, but what can Lin do? He's currently 3rd place in this little group here. And we saw last time they came around that the 3rd place seemed to be the best place to be, as they're going to attempt to just breeze past Aeronom due to the slipstream. And here comes Lin. He's so close to the bumper of Takamo right now. But look, Panero. He's going to have a go as well. And Valentina's just in the background there, looking to join in the fight as they're 3 wide for 2nd place right now. And Panero takes the lead for the first time here at the Nürburgring. But here comes Aeronom. He's going to have a go. He's fighting back. He was in the lead at the start of the straight, but he's only going to drop back down to 3rd. And Valentina's just not able to have an answer, but big loser out of it all was Xiaoji Lin. He's back down to 6th.
Yeah, David Baum got past him. I was just supposed to say, I feel like David Baum.
We've lost half of them. They've all gone into the pit. So
Panero's gone in. Carmo.
There we go.
Aeronom.
Valentina's Baum and Xiaoji Lin. So Yuji Ling just heading around again for another trip. Oh no, Aeronom's overshot his pit box there and had to reverse. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Hopefully
Maselli's
not too much.
There's a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, this is where we said it. Would they come in at the start of this lap? There we go. You can see him absolutely teaming
It's
in.
pit stops for everyone, Tim. Dantas is in. Vaguely.
It is basically everyone behind seems to have come in. It's only really Valentina's Baum, Lin and Bertoni who've kept going. Literally the whole field. You can see it on the timing tower.
I'm watching my timing tower right now, Tim, and I'm like, everyone's moving. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's like there was a group memo.
Literally, I think it's only really Chauvin and Gibson, as well as obviously the front 3 and Bertoni, they were the only ones who didn't seem to get the memo and have kept going. As I'm just watching our timing software just go ballistic right now with people coming into the pits. And I think literally all bar those 5 drivers, everybody has come in. I'm sorry, 6 drivers, isn't it?
Yeah. Look at our top 3. They haven't come in. Actually, our top 4, Bertoni. Andreas, thank you. Chauvin hasn't come in. Gibson, who is actually our second, who's in 2nd place in our Spec 2 points. He hasn't been in yet.
No, also then we've got Martin Spoke, he's in 23rd right now. Paul Jackson 29th, he's yet to pit, but other than that, everybody else deciding lap 3 is the time to go and head to the pits at half race distance. As we head well into the 2nd half of the race right now. Just watch Gibson battling out with Mayer right now, but look who's right behind him. It's Dantas just getting in for the fight.
It's, Tim, it being Halloween and all, I just felt like everyone going to pits is like when you get that mob of trick-or-treaters coming to your house.
Oh, definitely, and one after another, and they see that other trick-or-treaters see the doors open and they come along as well. It's like, oh, sweet.
and the 20 kids who are coming together.
Well, the question is, who will be the kid that got the candy and come out victorious tonight here at Nordschleife? And it's so hard to call, really. I mean, what can that sort of, the breakaway group who headed to the pits of Panero and Nom do? Can they work together? But equally, with that top 3 as well, what can they do to try and work together and pull away? I imagine they should be in this lap, but Bobby West, he's just got Murakami ahead of him. Eric Cox is behind, and they have all stopped so far. You can see it's Finkboner, he is ahead, and this battle over is actually 17th place right now. One's just happy to sit behind and not too much action really here, because obviously everyone just seems to be happy, just happy to sit behind one another and just try and wait for the key of overtaking opportunities. And then when we do have them, Jonathan, all hell breaks loose and everybody goes for it.
Everyone goes for it. And if you want to spotlight Michael Finbon right now, he's our high climber today. He's up 22 spots from where he started. So always want to give a shout out to the guy who's climbing up through the field. So good job to Michael. He's right ahead of this group of Chris Murakami, Bobby West, and Yuri Cox.
Now, just while we were talking about that, I've just seen we've had a change for the lead. David Baum has succumbed to Valentinius. He's got ahead. Lynn just tucked in at the back and happy to watch these two as they... Bowman Valentinius look to almost go again. You can feel where Bowman is prodding and poking as we look back from Valentinius right now. That is what under 2 steps looked like at the Nordschleife. Baum just waiting for his moment. They come through the carousel there, waiting to get onto the power, out over the bump. Before they head right to this long swooping corner.
I'm wondering if Baum hasn't played his cards yet. He's been the guy who's sat at the back of that lead group. You know, we know how fast David Baum is. Is he just saying, I'll wait it out? You know, I'm fast, I know it, don't need to show it.
I don't know. This is a tricky one. It's like a game of poker, really. When do you show your hand? When do you, give an inkling of what you're up to? Because don't discredit Lin either. No. The Chinese driver, he seems to be happy to sit, likewise with Baum, to happy to sit at the back of the groups. And I think we've got a spinner there.
Looks like
is that Simon Mayer?
Yeah.
I think he was just lost there. Repo see customer car coming through the shot there, and let's see what happened. Just lost the rear, and Dantas just having to take evasive action, and well done. Oh no, that was nearly a little bit close there.
Sean Payne almost bit it too.
Just managing to, both the drivers head separate ways, and luckily no contact there. But Murakami is, they've all caught up to the back of, I think that's the 70.
That's Castro, Payne.
Castro, Payne, yeah. They're up ahead, and they're all starting to come back together again.
While this is going on, with pit stops or anything else, Aaron Vagley is now our Spec 2 leader.
He is. Obviously, Murakami still remaining in the lead of Masters and battling in second place, I believe, right now in Masters.
Just looking through our field, right Batley. Now, Tom Grabo running fourth. What's going on with Tom Grabo? He was absolutely fantastic last year. Granted, he's only 6 points out of the Masters class lead, but I feel like the Tom Grabo we're seeing this season is not as strong as last season's.
No, and I mean, he didn't have the best of qualifying here, so he started well down to his rival Murakami. But he hasn't been able to get the look of the green, as we just see the standard free wide that we come to expect, and remaining in second place and really getting the brunt draft on Lin there. Valentini just being the one to lose out. Here comes David Baum. They're gonna go free wide again. Here we go. But Valentini's just shutting the door on Lin there, and David Baum, after all of that action, has remained in a net second place, and actually they fall back into how they started at the start of the straight, despite all getting past one another. And there you go, they're into the pits. Now,
this was about it. They had to pit now.
Now, looking at the pit transition times at 30 seconds, DeCarmo, Norm, and Pinero are 26 to 28 seconds behind them. I think that lead group could lose out here. And this sort of, the second of the lead groups, as it were, could well head out. Although they're on pit exit.
So maybe obviously
having the shorter stop as well. Of course, didn't factor that one in.
Valentini just made it out.
Wow, he has done an absolute monster stop. He stopped 2 seconds shorter than his rivals, Baum and Lin, who both stopped for 29 seconds. Obviously having to put less fuel in compared to their competitors out of that first group to stop at DeCarmo, Norm, and Pinero. They've all separated out a little bit with under 10 minutes to go. 2 laps. Anything can happen. Anything will happen. As you see, Gibson's headed into the pits there. And also, Pink Bonner just heading in as well.
this kind of allowed our lead group to kind of spread out a little bit.
It has, yeah. There's some big losers out there. However, due to the slipstream, I mean, Valentijas was really romped away. There you go. Look, he's 3 seconds clear, and he's going to be hoping, he's going to be praying the Bohm and Lin start battling. Although I get the feeling they'll start working together. You see their pit strategy up on the right-hand side of your screen right now.
I hope Valentijas has enough fuel. We've seen this happen before where we've seen someone at the rocket pit stop, like Marco Panero, and then not have enough fuel.
Now, the actual interesting one, the actual time that he was stationary for was 3 3/4 seconds, 3.75. David Bohm was a full second slower, so 14.75. And then Lin was stationary for 15.1 seconds. So that is a big chunk of time and less fuel. I mean, unless he's praying he can slipstream off someone and try and save a bit of fuel potentially, but all he's going to be coming up against is back markers, of which he'll get held up behind them. So this is either an absolute masterstroke of genius from Valentijas, or it could prove to be absolute disaster. I mean, maybe he's just thinking also where he's not going to be in a battle with any of the cars around him. He can lift and coast into corners, knowing that that's going to, the time loss from that is going to equalise where the cars behind him are battling.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And Bohm and Lin are going to probably work together. They're not going to race it too hard to try and catch Valentijas. So we look at this battle here for 11th. That's pretty wild. With Murakami a little bit ahead of this group of West, Payne, Cox, Castro.
You just get a feeling that Murakami will get swallowed up into it. We saw it earlier with Tusting, who was in a similar position, who was nearly 2 seconds clear of a group, but due to the slipstreaming and working together with the group behind, close right back up to him within a lap. See, they've got right on board with Payne right now. That's Bobby West ahead of us, and then you can see our Masters leader in this race and of the championship, Murakami, just up ahead. Taking a bit of the curve there, and some more Payne. And just interesting as well to see the difference, the lines there. Payne happy to take some of the curve, and Bobby West staying away from them. We now just back in there. You see also Castro just starting to fall off the back a little bit from this group. That's the last thing that he's going to be wanting.
Yeah, he's starting to fall off a little bit. Yuri Cox has really held on to the back of Payne pretty well. So great race for Yuri so far.
So you've got Fabian De Silva in chat just saying, go DeCamo.
There is a DeCamo fan club in the YouTube chat, so it's great to see fans of our racers watching today.
Great to have everyone along board for the ride as always, and great to hear from you. It'll be interesting going into the last couple of laps. They make it sound like there's not long left to go with them being so long here. It is a while left to go, but good to hear what your thoughts on who you think is going to take the victory. There you see our leader right now, Valentijas. He's only lost 2 attempts across the lap to Lin and Bohm. Can he hold on here? I think it's going to be interesting. It comes through the carousel there.
Yes, and Chris Swadling in the YouTube chat said it best, saying, let's hope crew chief hasn't done him dirty.
Yes, I think that's gonna pray. Otherwise, I mean, Jim from crew chief, I'm sure he's probably the loveliest bloke in real life that you ever meet, but my God, does he come from in for some briefs from drivers in iRacing?
It does. And all these pit stops have allowed the field to spread out a bit. Looking up and down our SDK timing tower, you know, there's some gaps there. Usually we see, you know, if you watch the live timing separately here, you'll see a lot of reds and oranges typically in our Weekend Warriors class, and there's not a ton. There's a few battles going on right now. That battle for 12th and 13th, that's going on right now. You know, Yang Shilin, David Baum, it seems like they're content right now just to sit and work together.
They are, and actually, interestingly, Valentijas has actually pulled back the 2 temps that he gained over those 2 drivers, and actually a further 10th. So He is on fire right now. And he's really, really extending the gap as Bohm says, no, I've had enough, Lynn. I'm coming past. You can see Valentijas is really getting away from these drivers right now. He is 3.7 and that gap is growing. He goes up to nearly 3.8 and Lynn's lost another place. DeCarmo has got past and got himself up into a podium position right now. But that group of 3 behind him, you can see him just in the background there. They're going to have to really, really work together and work hard together if they wish to catch Valentijas, who's pulled out nearly a second there across this last lap over the pack behind. That's crazy, you know, with the slipstream effects and the ability to work together. You wouldn't expect it. You'd think he should be right in with that pack behind him right now, but he's not.
And his car might be just that light. You know, he had the shortest pit stop, and we're gonna have another lap to go. We're about 38:12. It's a 40-minute race. He's gonna get the white flag next time by. Will he have enough fuel?
There we go. Just see DeCarmo in the background there, just getting past David Bohm. Lynn has actually dropped off a bit from these guys. 4th place. You can see that gap there. It's Bohm and DeCarmo swapping places again. Comes the German past the Brazilian. But can he actually get him past? It looks of course DeCarmo's going to have that inside line. The next corner, they're still pretty much flat out. And yeah, there we go. David Bohm just yielding. Slotting in behind the Brazilian. Lynn has able to close up a little bit of that gap where these 2 were just swapping places there. Pull out that slipstream, but so what, we've got a nice little battle happening further down that John Payne, Murakami, Bobby West battle. That's starting to evolve a bit. As you can see, Murakami, we said about getting him swallowed up. Payne has managed to get past, but looking in the background, Yura Cox versus Bobby West.
Oh, look at Murakami,
he's coming back, isn't he? It's interesting, they're seeming to get a second bite of the apple. Murakami going for it again, but they're really, really tight together, and there is not chance for Payne to slot back in, but Payne looks like he's going to go ahead, and somehow they just squeeze through, and as they come onto the brakes, and Payne takes the charge of this group. And the last thing Murakami we're wanting, obviously, as
our Spec 2 leader just jumped into the pits.
So he's coming, that's his 2nd pit stop there actually. So Dantas taking the lead of Spec 2 right now. And yeah, I mean, last thing Murakami will be wanting right now in battles like those is have someone wipe him out. As you said, right. Such a big points potential day for Murakami in that 901 machine.
And looking at this battle, Yuri Cox and Bobby West have seen each other all race long. I'm sure they could read each other's virtual gearbox serial numbers at this point, because these 2 have just been stuck to each other the entire time.
They've been completely locked together, and they've got a bit of a gap behind them. You see just coming through the screen there. In the background is Castro.
They've dropped doo-doo a little bit.
They have, haven't they? And Van Dormelen, who's behind him, someone we haven't really mentioned tonight, he is in 15th place right now. But he's dropped down to 16th. There's Vogler just getting past there. And up into 15th place now, as we're onto this lap now. Just around about a third of the way round for our leaders. As it stands right now, your top 10 is Valentijas, DeCarmo, Bohm, Lynn, Norm, Naselli, Campbell, Panero, Dantas, Payne, and followed down by Murakami, Cox, West, Castro, Vogler, Van Dormelen, Tusting, Sancinelli, Jacobson, and Darlow, rounding out your top 20 here at round 7.
And this group dropped, sorry Tim, this group dropped Nom and Panero. What happened to Panero? Panero just dropped down too.
Panero Nom is really, really been showing. Maybe this is the chink in his armour. Such dominance displays from him all season. You can see the gap.
It's like Panero may have had an issue here. I'm just trying to pull this.
Yeah, because he's really dropped down, hasn't he? So
he entered the he entered the pits. I wonder if something happened. He has, just looking at everything here, he's been in the pits twice, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim.
He has. He's been in for a second time. Stationary, just as long as he was in the first one, so maybe I didn't clock what his stationary time was on his first pit stop, so maybe he just didn't put enough fuel in. Where Aeronom overshot his box, we saw him do that and had to reverse. That's what's cost him dearly, but even so, something's happened to John Payne. He's come off track, which is allowed.
Take a look.
Murakami and Dantas to come past there. Okay, this is what happened.
John had a little bit of an issue earlier. Let's see what happened.
Oh, bumps across the curb. No, saved that one there. Well, maybe that was it.
No.
Ran it in, and that's what allowed Murakami, Cox, and West to come past. Oh no. Got a feel for Payne there. Payne, like his name, suffering the pain and skimming all the barriers, and well. But tell you what, this front group
John's
here,
had an interesting race. John's run a great race, but he had a issue earlier, which Michael Dobek got gobbled up in. But, kudos to John for bouncing back.
well, literally off the barriers there, and back out onto the track and resumed. Didn't lose too much time, luckily. But right now, it's advantageous. Wow. What a dominant display, but interesting actually, coming on to the start of the lap, he was 4 seconds clear of the group behind him. They can just see, there you go, in the background, that group of 3. Now they're 2.8 seconds behind. They have got around just over a third of a lap to go. I know it's a very large third of a lap here. You're talking about 7 or 8 kilometers, but I think they're running out of time, and I think they know it.
I think so. Just want to jump back and look at this battle. John Payne's climbed right back. He's on Bobby West's tail right now, and now Yuri Cox is leading it.
It is, yeah. This is the first time Yuri Cox has taken to the front of this group. They've all pretty much swapped places at one stage or another, but Cox taking charge for the first time here tonight. Murakami, I don't know what it is, he's always seemed to be second place in this group as well. I know he got swallowed up into it.
Everyone just moves around him.
They do. They just swap around and then pretty much sort themselves out across the lap and end up back where they were at the start of the lap. But Vantiches, he's pulling out some fresh air between this group yet again. And I feel, with a quarter of a lap to go, maybe they've realised it and they're starting to get their elbows out a little bit because they know they're not going to catch Valentiges. So now it becomes the fight for them over second place.
Yeah, this is... I would hope we get to talk to Valentiges after the race, because I would love to hear him talk about his pit strategy, because this was unbelievable.
It looked like he'd underfueled the car, but what it's actually turned out to be is an absolute masterstroke, a genius move from Valentiches. He looks like with a long straight, and all he's got to do is just get the car settled into the braking zone. See the battle behind you. They're swapping places. Lynn takes the lead of that group behind. Bomb is on the right. Here comes DeCarmo. He's on the left-hand side. They're going to go 3 wide down the straight. DeCarmo just getting his nose out in front. But here comes David Bone. But Lynn's tucked in behind DeCarmo as he now has another go. They're coming out wide and they're swapping places again. Bone's going to be on the inside. I think maybe he's just slightly ahead. DeCarmo, could he lose that time? They touch him and DeCarmo and Bone just touched there. Lynn's on the outside. They're still 3 wide. Lynn just touching the brakes there, having to settle back and maybe hoping these two are going to hit each other again.
Valentiges is slower.
He is. He's slowed right up. It's only it was 3 seconds. It's now only a second.
Here we go.
Can they get it at the line? Can someone get it back? He's crawling across the line. What's going to happen?
Crawling.
He's just got it. He's got it somehow across the line after losing 2 seconds down the straight.
That car has to have no fuel in it, Tim.
well, the way the engine's cut out there, I would say he has literally limped that car across the line. DeCarmo coming home in second, Bone third, Lynn fourth, Norm, wow, only fifth. Naselli sixth, Campbell seventh, Panero's eighth, but I'll tell you what, Dantas and Murakami Payne, they're all trading places as well.
Jump back to that battle.
Well, sorry, Dantas is just, he's there, but here comes Chris Murakami. He's going to come and go. He's going to try and get 10th place off Payne. They're going to go side by side, but Bobby West, he's wanting a bit of this. It is, no, somehow they just come across the line and just stay as they were, but Bobby West nearly nicking the place off Murakami there, right up off the line. Just having a little look at what's happening behind. I think our next nearest battle is Shook and Andalo. They've swapped places. I think Andalo, he slowed right down. Has he run out of fuel as well?
He looks like he ran out of fuel, Tim.
Definitely, and then we've got Gibson and Batley, the two Brits. They're having a go at one another, but they need to be careful. The slowing car in front of them of Andalo, because they're catching him at a rate of knots, so they're going to find him in the middle of the track, potentially. We've got Batley, he's got in front. You see Gibson there. There you go, there's the slowing car just crawling across the line where he's run out of fuel. And Andalo losing loads of places right now. As the next closest battle as well is Jackson. He's coming up onto the back of AJ Jesse. See if we pick that one up for you. There you go.
Gonna try to tuck
Jackson,
back in.
Jackson just getting well ahead. He's going for the second bite of the apple. Tucked in, but no. Such is the speed difference along the straight there between these two drivers. Jackson has not only got it, he's got it comfortably here, Jonathan.
Yeah, he has it. He clearly does. This is a battle for 27th, 28th, which is 7th, 8th in class.
Someone headed to the pits. That was
Jesse.
just
Jesse went into the pits. Just looking at our timing here.
There we go. So
Gravel jumps in.
Of course,
the
start
remainder of our drivers.
After the start finish straight, so the start finish line. It doesn't make too much difference whether they carry along or cruise through there. Of course, a shorter line, so if they're running ridiculously low on fuel, doesn't matter too much for them. You know, less distance to cover. Get the car over the line. It's right on board with Brian Short, the American, bringing the car home. Got a big gap behind him. Eisen Jin behind. And John Long going to bring out the field, but
yeah, we're going to be waiting a minute or two for our post-race festivities and interviews and whatnot. As we know, the traditional post-race demo derby, I think we'll be waiting a minute or two.
I'm not even sure if it's going to happen too much today, because there's so many drivers who've cut their fuel right to the line that I don't know if there's going to be anyone with any fuel left to have a demo derby here.
So, Tim, we have a guest in the waiting room. Would you like me to bring him in? You'd like to talk to him?
Yeah, let's speak to him. It is Bruno DeCalmo. Second place tonight. Congratulations. Oh no, I think
Is
got
Bruno
himself
there?
on mute. Oh, there we go. Can you hear us, Bruno?
Yes, really clearly.
Brilliant, brilliant. Second place. Congratulations. How does it feel?
Yeah, it was incredible race, mate. Damn, this car is so fun. This track, it's a really good combo. I got an invite from Evandro Dantas and Dudu Castro. Then we tried to practice this week for this race, and I got really excited and asked them if I could join the race. So it was incredible. They warned me that it would be a really high field, really high level. So I know that there's some guys here really, really fast, and it was incredible. The race was pretty clean. Everyone was really good at the battles, trying to switch the positions. We know that it's extremely. We use the draft a lot, so We know that the most important lap was the last. But yeah, congratulations to Andreas. Was a pretty good strategy. He probably saved some field behind us. I didn't save at all. I was just having fun and full throttle all the way. And then yeah, it was pretty good P2 for us. Thank you so much for the fun, guys.
Brilliant. And obviously, we saw Valentijus. He seemed to be really, well, you could say time to perfection. His the amount of fuel that he put into the car, but he was running out of, of fuel coming across the line, and you could see that gap was closing dramatically, where he was nearly 4 seconds clear to you coming onto the the long straight. Obviously, finishing just across the line. Did you feel potentially that you might be able to snatch the victory from him?
Yeah, for sure. At the last lap, we tried to imagine this possibility. In my stream, actually, in my chat was talking. Maybe he has to save some fuel, so keep their head down. And yeah, but he managed to finish pretty good. So congratulations to all the top 3.
Is there anyone you want to give any shout outs to at all, Bruno, or say thanks to at all?
Yeah, sure. Again, for the invite, Dudu Castro and Evander Dantas, thank you so much for joining me in this race. I would like to thank my team, Full Time Esports by Tony Canan. Thank you everyone to watching on our stream here on twitch.tv. Bruno do Carmo, so if everyone wants to check it out, that's my full race on board there. And thanks to Barreto Carlos, also our crew chief on our team. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. That's Bruno de Carmo, second place here on his debut in the championship. So we're just going to bring you up the results right now. And we have got, of course, Andreas Valentijus somehow keeping hold of it and coming across the line in the first place. Bruno de Carmo, we just spoke to him there, coming home in second place. David Bone rounding out your podium here. Round 7 at the Nordschleife. And Lynn, you want to feel a bit of grief. So close to the podium in 4th. Everon. Someone took the fight to him. Coming home only in 5th place. His weakest result after not coming into any contact. Was only in 5th. Miselli in 6th. Campbell, Panero, Dantas, your winner in Spec 2. Congratulations to him. And then Payne rounding out your top 10. Then we've got the winner in Masters in 11th place, Chris Murakami. We'll be speaking to him very shortly. We've got Bobby West, Cox, Vegele, Van Dormland, Tusting, Castro, Stancinelli, Boner, and Jeff Jacobson rounding out your top 20. And then it's Shook, Batley, Gibson, Kern, Justice Jackson, Burkitt, Jesse, and Gradwell.
Sorry about
rounding
that.
out the top 20, so that's all right. So let's have a little chat to. We seem to speak to him every week, but he keeps getting stronger every single week and is really growing into this championship, as we were saying before the show. It's Chris Murakami. Congratulations on another win in Masters. This is getting a bit of a regular thing, this.
Yeah, we gotta quit meeting like this. My girlfriend's gonna wonder what's up.
Oh, definitely. Wow, it looked like a real tough race out there today. Was it the same inside the cockpit?
Well, I started like 21st. I had a bad quali. I went off track early in the first lap, and that kind of made it so my quali wasn't the greatest.
No,
and,
I mean,
but on track, no, everything on track went well. It's a big draft track. When you start in the back there, once the cars separate, it's tough to. Then you're just kind of stuck with the guys in that group, unless they crash or something.
Yeah, it did seem to be that way. Now, obviously, today was a chance for a big points haul for you. Obviously, with Tom Gradwell not having the best of qualifying, he finished at 4th in class, 28th overall. And even so, another dominant finish from yourself with your closest competitor within, well, closest Masters driver finishing 11 places behind you in 22nd. Are you really happy about, how you were able to get a nice haul of points today?
Yeah, the only thing was Antonio was he started a lot higher than I did, and he had computer problems today, and his computer crashed on him. So that was that would have been a challenge to catch him.
Let's see, we head across to Summit Point next time. How are you feeling about that one?
Oh, Summit? All right. Everybody knows that track.
It's pretty much a staple of iRacing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very competitive.
So
but, should be good.
Anyone you want to give thanks to or give a shout out?
I want to thank Antonio. I haven't thanked him because he's the reason why I'm actually doing this, because I know nothing about computers, and he's my computer guy, even though his computer crapped out.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Antonio's now kicking himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess he went to his monitors today because the VR was just too much in a sense of the computer, and so he went to his monitors, and something happened with that whole thing.
Oh, he's brilliant. There you go, Chris Murakami, 11th place overall and winners in Masters. Now, let's speak to probably one of our more unluckier drivers. Finished 4th overall.
He's back.
2 strong showings in the last 2 rounds. It's Lynn. Congratulations to yourself and on 4th place. Although, in some ways, you feel a little bit aggrieved for losing out in that freeway battle for 2nd place on the last lap.
That was I don't know. I mean, 3 wide going into the last complex was never a good idea. I was the car on the outermost side, and maybe because some chassis damage, I was a little bit down on top speed, so I just give up. I mean, it's not for the win, so maybe I'll save it for next time.
Yeah, we did see you from the camera angle just touch the brakes to sort of back out of it, where it was getting incredibly spicy between Bowman and DeCarmo, where they were side by side and banging doors as well. I don't know if you managed to catch that from where you were sat, obviously, because you were pretty much 3 wide at the time. And yeah, I mean, when you were obviously locked in a battle, and obviously you were one of the group that stopped a lap later than the rest of that lead group of 6. How are you feeling at that stage? Were you happier? Was always the plan to go in that extra lap compared to everyone else, or were you a bit nervous when you saw him stopping that little bit earlier?
I actually had to save fuel on the 2nd and 3rd lap because like with half tank limitation in this league, it should be barely enough to run 4 laps. I'm glad I saved enough fuel, and looks like I had a shorter pit stop than the group that pitted early.
Yeah, you're about 2 seconds quicker in the pits compared to them, but however, Vantagious, with a 2nd quicker than yourself, and that seemed to be the difference between yourself and Bowman DeCarmo today. Just that shorter pit stop.
Yeah, but Audrius had an even shorter pit stop than I do. I mean, he put a 3-second gap. Me and David Bowman tried to work with each other, but then I was too stressed. I made a mistake, and we lost the hope.
No worries. Is there anyone you want to give thanks to or give a shout out to at all?
I guess first thank you for Apex Racing TV doing the broadcast. Thank you too. And thank to my team sponsor, TeamSpeak, although Man U's their rival today. And that's it, I guess. And I want to say at the end that there has been a lot of incident this season by far. Just, I mean, last week was pretty good. This week is pretty good. But I still want to remind everyone, this is a league that's supposed to let everyone have fun. You are having fun by making others not having the fun. You are doing it wrong.
Definitely, vice versa there. And thank you very much, Youngji Lin. Came home 4th overall, and obviously in class today. So, Jonathan, wow. After what came down to being a grandstand finish there, And quite, a much longer race than what we've normally come to expect on the channel.
Yes.
Next week we head to Summit Point.
Completely different track, Tim. It's going to be very different. I want to see what happens if do Valentajus, do Camaro, do they make a return? And we've seen, and Yang Shilin's been running great the past 2 races. We have some more challenges for Aero Nam, so always excited. Every Sunday is a thrill here with SRF Weekend Warriors.
Definitely, and if you've not had enough racing for one evening, in around about just under 10 minutes time on Apex Racing TV, it will be the IGP Fun F3 series there around 7 from Donington Park. Then tomorrow night we have got coming up for you the Apex Racing League Mazda Cup. That's round 5 at Spa-Francorchamps. Later that evening at midnight GMT, it's the IndyCar Open Series. It's round 8 from New Hampshire. Now, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening on the channel, be sure to give us a subscribe on YouTube. Also, you can follow us where we are at Apex Racing TV. On Twitter, Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, and Instagram is, of course, Apex Racing TV. Well, it's been another spectacular race. Thank you very much to RaceVoice for sponsoring the event. And as we head in a week's time to Summit Point, will someone be able to take the fight even again to Aero Nam and stop him and take from taking the championship so easily? We'll see you in a week's time, where we'll find out.